A massive welcome to this IoD99Bites. It is the first one we've done in a bit of a while. I think the last one we did was out in Paris. But here we are back in the garden, in a rather brown garden as well. The heat wave has well and truly hit central London. And as you can most probably see by my shining forehead, it has well and truly hit me as well. But I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Your businesses are going great. And if you're in the deodorant business, I'm sure you are making an absolute killing. However, moving on, as always, I'm joined by an amazing 99er, and this time it is the turn of Julian, who is founder of Howamigoing. So Julian, over to you. What do you do and what does your business do?
Thanks, Alex. Howamigoing is a peer-to-peer professional feedback platform. So we do two things. The first thing we do is we streamline traditionally inefficient and manual performance reviews and appraisals. The other thing we do is we provide a safe online portal for employees to get year-to-year feedback and the times when their company doesn't have a structured process in place.
And I mean, we're talking a little bit about this before we started filming, but having the structured process in place, it isn't just for the sort of management of teams, it is actually really important for the employees as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think some employees in particular are quite proactive, and some will make an effort on a regular basis to go out and ask the people they're working with particular points that might help them with their development. Others are not so proactive, and others are just so busy that they need to have perhaps a little bit of a reminder every 3 or 4 months to go and ask those sort of points from those around them. So every company is different, but we like to think that we cater for a majority of them.
And it's again, it's a point we're talking about briefly, but it is incredibly important for business, isn't it? I mean, it's that sort of, the attraction and retention of talent is crucial to scale and growth, to keep the IP internally. And also when you hear stats about millennials and especially Gen Z, which I heard something the other day that Gen Z are going to be moving jobs every 9 months, which is incredibly scary. Keeping people there, keeping your talent there, making sure they don't move on to a competitor, but they're happy and they feel engaged and grown is absolutely crucial to a business success, isn't it?
There's been a few interesting data points come out recently. On the one hand, there's one with millennials that you spoke about, and something like 80% of millennials, as a survey of 1,000 people, wanted more frequent performance feedback or feedback conversations with their manager. On the other side, if you look at the whole population, you've got around about 64% of people actually thinking about quitting after their performance review, and then another 60% of those quitting purely because of the performance review.
God.
So I think we're going through a bit of a phase where companies are competing on culture, not so much on their salary, and it's important to win over your employees on a regular basis and not so much about having something and having employees lining up the door.
So it is. I mean, there's a bit of a power shift. When I started working in the very, very dim, distant past, performance reviews were a bit of a box tick exercise. It wasn't particularly to engage staff at all. It was more done to just sort of do what they're meant to be doing and make sure that the HR team were happy. Now it is a real key part of engaging and keeping staff and making sure they're happy. And also, as you were saying, I mean, that's quite scary that a significant percentage of staff leave because of their performance review. Is there, they don't feel as if they're managed, they don't feel as if they're promotion opportunities. What is the reason behind it?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things to it. I think first and foremost, there has been, as we were talking about before, a massive lag in innovation and a massive, I guess, delay in companies moving forward and modernizing their HR processes. A couple of surveys that we've done, well, one of them showed there are about 3/4 of companies today in 2018 that still do a manual feedback process. They still collect feedback via email or pen and paper or Microsoft Word, which is just crazy. Right?
3/4 of it.
We've had the software industry around for decades. We've had widespread internet around for 20 years. We've had smartphones around for 10 years or so, but still this shift and this wave is coming through now. So I think it's a function of making that process more streamlined and more efficient and more human and more enjoyable. And on the back of that, I think what you get, that allows you to do feedback more regularly, which gives people that extra sort of added connectivity to the people around them, and that more sense of a community, and that sense of belonging, and that sense of safeness, and it's okay to share things, and it's okay to talk about my development on an ongoing basis, rather than having this one dreadful event at the end of the year that also determines my salary for the next year, and this sort of stress and anxiety that builds around that.
And I think that I mean, it's an interesting area talking about the way it's lagged behind. In other areas, businesses moved quite quickly now to adopt true flexible practices. I know there have been a couple of articles in the press recently about what businesses are doing to enable staff to work from home during hot weather, or times when you have extremes in weather fluctuations and things like this. But the sort of the HR functionality, the thing of actually the most important area of understanding your team, are they happy? Are they engaged? Where do they feel they are? Has been the bit that is really held back, which is quite surprising, isn't it? Or is it not?
Yeah, again, I think it just comes back to, I think HR traditionally has been seen as a bit of a, not the first function that people, think about. It's sort of, let's build revenue up, let's get the sales guys in, and let's start to go from there, and let's deal with people later once we've got 100 and 150 employees, and that's a good problem to deal with. But as you sort of know, that often it can be too late by that stage. And culture needs to be there from day one, and giving employees an avenue and a voice and the ability to get that sort of developmental feedback from those around them. As you say, if you're working from home, having a clever online platform like ours allows you to do that, right? So you don't need to be in the office and face to face, and you can actually have a bit more flexibility around being connected with the people in your team.
Well, I think a key part was that you mentioned was it isn't just a sort of end of year report. You can do it regularly, you can keep on top of things. If there is a problem, managers can deal with it. If there are issues within the team or that an employee is feeling unhappy, they can vent it and not leave it to the end of the year whereby the problem has been exacerbated or is increased and becomes terminal, and the staff member leaves or is disruptive, or the team isn't working correctly, etc. But what was your journey into this? Was your background in HR, Julian? Did you have a dreadful experience? What was the thing that drove you to set up this?
Yeah, I sort of fell backwards after uni into investment banking. I was with Goldman Sachs in Australia, having started at a smaller business in Australia, and the performance review process was pretty horrendous. And I sort of thought, surely this can be done, a little bit better. And doing some market research and seeing what else was out there, there was a bit of a dearth of third-party providers that had a nice intuitive platform that was safe and that was easy for people to go and get feedback from whoever they wanted, whenever they wanted, on whatever topic or questions they wanted. So I sort of continued to develop that over the last few years and get it to a position where it's now able to be used. So I don't really have any right to have a HR platform business under me, but very passionate about feedback, very passionate about people, and very passionate about having a workplace that's great to be in, and having an environment where people want to turn up to work and they feel like every day, because performance is every day, they can rely on the people around them and they can get those points from the people around them and feel safe and feel connected. Fantastic.
And I think from it was a survey we did with the 99 towards the latter part of last year, whereby the key issue that 99ers were facing wasn't about funding, wasn't about ecosystem support, wasn't about government support. It was actually about recruitment and retention of key talent, which was the biggest inhibitor to their scale and growth. So it sounds like you're onto a bit of a winner, and maybe it's sort of going to be the goose that lays the golden egg. And coming back in a year's time, you're going to be on the track to being one of our next unicorns and things like that. But
slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race.
That's right.
But thank you very much, Julian. Thank you all for watching. If you know anyone out there that would benefit from Julian's technology, do give him a shout. We'll link through to his business in the description of this Bites. And also, if there's anyone here that wants to use it, do get in touch with Julian, an awesome 99er and part of the many awesome, amazing founders we have within our family of founders as well. Thank you for watching, and Julian, thank you very much for taking part.
Alex.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.